So my SIBO story is quite a long one, but it has a really good ending. So my stuff started back when I popped out the womb. So I had always suffered with colic when I was being fed as a baby. I had lots of tummy aches as a child. Unrelated but related, I had lots of tonsillitis, so I was given lots of antibiotics. And I learnt from a very early age that food was pretty hard for me, actually. So I would try and avoid eating as long as possible because it wasn't a very nice experience. Like when I ate, my tummy hurt. When I ate, I got tired. When I ate, I felt bad. Then going through my teenage years and all the body stuff that comes with that, I was always trying to be thinner and my weight was always a struggle. And I would look at my friends and I was like, how do they have such an easy time with food? I felt like I was always fighting against my body to not eat, but then I'd overeat because I was so hungry. And then as I got older, I started becoming more aware of my symptoms. So it was actually as I started becoming a naturopath that I became just aware of how wrong things were, because no one really talks about it. So I had a lifetime of constipation. I would go maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but I thought that was normal. I didn't know otherwise. My tummy would puff out every time that I ate, but I thought that was normal because no one really talks about that either. So I just thought that's what happens. I also used to think that I was getting fat really quickly, but it was bloating. So I would try all the different diets, the cabbage soup diet, broccoli. I would eat cups of Bovril, so I would avoid eating, count out 20 raisins, all these things, anything to try and feel better than I did. Atkins diet, you name it. And I became interested in naturopathy as a way to find peace with my body. Like I could see these people that were into health and they knew what to feed their body so that they could feel good, so they could look good, so they could do good things with their life. I was like, I want that for me. So I became a naturopath. I learned a lot about health and became vegetarian for 6 months, as we were taught this is the healthiest diet out there, which I do believe if you have a healthy enough digestive system to break it down. So I was strict vegetarian for like 6 months, eating all the lentil curries you can imagine, all the hummus, all the things. But I felt so bad because my digestive system was so out of whack. So I was bloated all the time. I had such bad brain fog. It felt like I was hungover all the time. Wasn't drinking either. My acne was out of control. I was tired. I was anxious. I was depressed. My menstrual cycle was all messed up. Then fast forward a couple of years later, in 2016, I got my SIBO diagnosis. And finally it was like, oh my gosh, I have an answer. I'm not crazy. There is something wrong with my body. This makes so much sense. So I was really grateful for the diagnosis, even though a SIBO diagnosis is a bit like, oh, that's really hard. And then reading about SIBO, and if you go on those pesky Facebook groups, it's like no one's getting any better and my life is over. It absolutely wasn't. So I did way more research, applied that to all the knowledge I really did have, and then I also sought outside help from a naturopath that knew more about SIBO than I did at that time. Now I'm a SIBO expert, but back then I still felt like I wanted a bit more clarity. So it's so good to work with a practitioner so that you can get out of your own way and get the big picture seen and get a treatment plan appropriate for you. So I managed to get rid of my SIBO in 6 weeks with herbal antimicrobials, but I didn't feel better. I still had bloating, I still was tired, I still couldn't digest the food. So I had lots more work to do on my microbiome, on my motility, on my emotions. I got stuck in a binge eating cycle for a while after that, and I ballooned in weight because I'd been restrictive dieting for so long. So when I finally let myself eat, I just went berserk and I gained 30 kilos, which is about 70 pounds. So I went up to 90 kilos in weight, which is close to 200 pounds. I was really big. And it wasn't just about the size. I was so uncomfortable. I wasn't surfing, so I was so embarrassed. I couldn't go to yoga because I don't want to bend over my big bloated and fat belly. So it stopped me from living my life. So our digestive issues, they suck in that we can't eat certain foods, but also it just puts a cloud over everything. So now that I have my digestive system so strong, so healthy, yes, I could eat all the foods again, but what that has given me is freedom, and it's given me peace. So I have the freedom to accept invitations from friends to go out for dinner. I have the freedom to travel and not be scared of what the food situation is going to be on the side. my period is back in awesome balance, and I can't wait to be a mum. So there's all these things that our health gives us versus what digestive issues can stop us from doing. So yeah, I beat my SIBO. I'm still SIBO free to this day. You can do it too.